Learn to evaluate a speech, especially in Toastmasters, is a skill that you need to work on, and I needed to learn about if I wanted to get a lot better. For those of you who don't know what Toastmasters is, it's a group where you practice your public speaking, leadership, communication skills, and there are different roles that you can do in each, and evaluator is one of them. You can either be a general evaluator, which will evaluate all the evaluators and every role within Toastmasters itself, or an evaluator of the speeches. And that's something that I'm going to be discussing about how I carry out these evaluations. So if you are attending a Toastmasters or you wanted to work on evaluating speeches, this is how our Toastmasters likes speeches to be evaluated. And if you don't know me, hi, I'm Jamie. I'm on a journey from an overthinker to a public speaker and showing my journey along the way, how I get there, how I managed to break into this field, and show all the highlights, lowlights, and all the tips and skills that I'm learning along the way, because I feel there aren't many resources that show this. So, and I've been on the lookout for it. So if that's helpful for you, then click and follow along, and I'd love to share and hear what your thoughts are around this. So in Toastmasters, you have, I think, around 1 to 2 minutes to carry out your evaluation, where you're actually in front of people doing it. And so you don't have that much time, realistically, to talk about their speech. So someone's been speaking for 5-6 minutes, and you've got to break that down into strategic and specific areas for maximum 2 minutes. So you have to be very specific and concise with what you're saying. And it's what I find people struggle with, and I did at the beginning. I was giving generic tips on how the speech could be improved rather than how this specific speech could be improved. Okay, so it's a slight difference there. Not a generic one, but we're trying to help the person who's just spoken, and also everyone you're there, improve their speeches. But every speech is obviously on an individual basis. So particularly, I like to focus on two core areas, unless I'm told beforehand that the person doing the speech wants a specific area looked at. So the first part would be on the body language. So this is how they use their gestures to reinforce, to tell their story, tell their speech better. And I'll show you some examples. Instead of saying, oh, they used great hand gestures, pinpoint a part of the speech where you thought that they used great hand gestures and go into detail why it impacted you, why it gave you the impression that was a great hand gesture, what's not a great hand gesture, and then show why the importance of hand gestures are there. So within that point that you've made, you go general that they use great hand gestures. The second point, you go specifically in which part of the speech they use hand gestures and how. So you are improving, you are using body language as well. And the third part is why this is important. So you're covering all the bases, so people in the audience have a better understanding of why it's important, why they did a great job, what they can learn from it, and also what they can't do. And the second point, that will be what I speak about for around 30 seconds to a minute. Don't have that long, to be honest. And then the second part to that is more verbal, how they use their vocal range or any specific language that they're using. That was amazing in the speech. That really stuck out to you. So normally those are the two areas I look out for, because when speeches are made, most people focus on vocal variation, which is the loud, quiet, high, low parts of your actual, the verbal parts of your speech. And then we have the non-verbal parts, which are mainly body language. So that's why I usually tend to focus on those areas. I can have two body language or two verbal ones, depending on what they want it to be evaluated. But in general, I just keep it concise to give great feedback specifically on those two areas. So regarding verbal, it could be the language they used. It could be that they had dialogue going on. It could be that they whispered during parts. or they got louder. So these are different areas. And again, I go generic, why, what they did. Two, what specifically they did and how it aided the speech and it had an impact on me. And the third, why it's important in general. So we've covered again all bases for body language and verbal. And I'll do that for around again 30 seconds to a minute, give or take. And so now we're approaching the times. And the last bit is something we want to give so that they could get even better, a recommendation. But an important point actually on that is that evaluations are very subjective. Okay, so this is my opinion of the speech. This is our opinion of the speech. It doesn't mean it's everybody's opinion. Everyone can be and do think about them differently. But I was the evaluator in this case, so this is what I thought. So it's important distinctive. It doesn't mean you're right or wrong. It's how it made you feel and how you would like the speech to be improved. So when we come to recommendation, it's if you were to do the speech, what would you do differently? And then really think why you would do it differently, or is there something that you feel was missing? Did they shout the whole way through, or were they quiet? Did they move about the stage the whole time or not? So then when we give this recommendation, again, it's the three areas. We look generally at what this person, I believe, could have done is to move about, particularly when they spoke about time and they used time on the stage effectively. So at this corner was the past and this corner was the future, and you'd move about the stage. So you're really focusing in on that. And then again, why it's important. So you're covering all bases for body language, verbal or specific language that they're saying, and then we have a recommendation at the end. So if you spend around 30 seconds, a minute on sort of all of these areas, then you have covered a wide range of areas within your evaluation that will give them specific feedback, and you'll feel better as well. So then when you do your next speech, you know what to expect, you know what you liked, you can improve it. The evaluation, that is something that I've learned to love about Toastmasters, is evaluating speeches. I learn a lot from them, and by me evaluating them, I feel that I am growing myself. So I'm trying to help others grow in that way as well. And that's why I'm doing this channel. I love public speaking, I love communication. So by me evaluating speeches and giving my thoughts on how I think it could improve, I'm improving as a speaker as well as helping everybody else. Oh, and that reminds you, another point that is really key is that when we give feedback, and I make this mistake all the time, I'm trying to get a lot better in the last couple of goes, but when we give feedback, we tend to look at and give the feedback directly to somebody. So we say, John, for example, John did a great job. When you used this body language, or when you did this, you did a great job. But we should be speaking third person because we don't want to be looking at and referencing him all the time. We want to be looking at everybody else and showing why John did a great job instead of saying you all the time. Because although it's their speech, it's for the benefit of him and everybody, because it should be an evaluation on his speech for the whole audience to improve. It's very weird, but it makes so much more sense once you're doing it. So if you are at Toastmasters or doing evaluations, try to avoid using you and refer to their name so that then the audience feel included on the evaluation as well and not left out. If this helped you and you had evaluations coming up, either for Toastmasters or just generally, you wanted to assess speeches at your work or presentations, then let me know in the comments if it was helpful or what other parts of public speaking I can help you with along the way. Thank you.